Hey group, cool it over there. I got some really sad news yesterday, which is that the Ghoul died. Now, for those of you who did not grow up in Cleveland, Ohio, and the surrounding area, you have no idea what I'm talking about. The Ghoul was a horror film host whose heyday was in the 70s, although he continued to do his show into the late 1990s. He went on TV late at night and he hosted horror movies. They would show Voyage to the Planet of the Prehistoric Women, or I don't know, Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, or something crazy like that late at night. And the Ghoul would come on and he'd introduce the show, and then between commercials he'd come on and say, hey, this is a terrible movie, you should go to bed. And it was really, really cool. And after he died and I started thinking about it, I'm like, geez, I am so influenced by the Ghoul. Like, most people in the business I'm in the, Zen master business, their role models are like, they're trying to be Thich Nhat Hanh, or they're trying to be the Dalai Lama, or they're trying to be David Carradine's character from Kung Fu or something. Their Zen master persona is that. My persona, and I am not joking at all, is almost entirely based on the Ghoul. In fact, a lot of times you're seeing me wearing this blue sweatshirt when I'm doing these videos. It's a Ghoul sweatshirt. And go back and look at my videos. You'll find a whole bunch of them where I'm wearing this sweatshirt, because this is my preferred go-to sweatshirt to wear when I am doing these videos. This backdrop here, this kind of cluttered backdrop with weird science fictional stuff, this is my half-assed imitation of the Ghoul's set that he would use. My stupid little beard and mustache combo, that's the Ghoul. I'm not even joking. So this guy was a huge influence on my life, and I wanted to show you some of my Ghoul collection. But before I do that, I want to plug something. And this is also another Ghoul thing. One of the movies I remember the Ghoul showing was called Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women, which influenced the title of my novel, Gill Women of the Prehistoric Planet. In fact, there was a book I read that said that an alternate title for Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women was Gill Women of the Prehistoric Planet, which is actually wrong, but I just used that title for my book. It is now available on audible.com, so if you go to audible.com and look for my name or look for this book, it's here. It's a novel, a science fiction comedy novel, not a Zen book, but it does have some Zen influence, so go look for that. So, I want to show you some of my Ghoul collection. Let me see. Wow. Let's show you this. This is a letter. I wrote a letter to the Ghoul in 1978, and I got a letter back from his wife, Barbara, Swede, and this is the letter, and I still have it preserved in this little plastic folder. I also, in the early 80s, I wrote a letter to the Ghoul himself, because I was doing a paper or a presentation for a speech class, and I did it about the Ghoul, and I wrote him a kind of a Q&A here that he answered. And the bummer for me is, you can see that he wrote on here, Brad, tried to give you a quick call, but you were never in. Stay sick, the Ghoul. He even found my phone number at the time. That's not my phone number anymore, so don't call it. But the reason I wasn't in was because I had this horrible roommate at the time that I just avoided like the plague. So it made me have even more reason to be pissed off at that horrible roommate. Tom, if you're watching out there, you made me miss the Ghoul's call. And autographed. I got a bunch of autographs from the Ghoul. These are things he sent me with his autograph on them, and that's another Ghoul autograph that I got. And this one that my friend Bob got, he invited the Ghoul to do a presentation up in San Francisco in 2005, and he got the Ghoul's autograph for me for that. I managed to find at great expense I actually got this one at the time. This was a free sort of paper with the Ghoul on it, and then this was another one with the Ghoul on it, and then found on eBay, an older from the 70s that I'd missed. I was too young to get the magazine at the time. And let's see, I got a bunch more stuff I could show you, but I want to just save it for my prize possession. This is a blue leather jacket, actually owned by the Ghoul himself. It showed up on eBay several years ago, and it wasn't even that expensive. It was like $50 or something. I can't remember how much it was, but this is a treasure. This is actually owned by the man himself. He was a heavy smoker in the 70s, and I think he quit smoking by the time he got older, but it still smells like it was worn by a heavy smoker. Amazing stuff. And as to why the Ghoul influenced me, he was great. At the time, there was no such thing as Howard Stern or any of these sort of shock jock characters that came along later, but he was sort of a progenitor of that. He would just kind of tell it like it is, and he would offend people, and he didn't care if he offended people. He seemed to kind of revel in it, and he just kind of said what he wanted. And hey, there's one thing I almost forgot. Another big Ghoul influence that I wanted to tell you about. He had this little character called Froggy. It was a little rubber frog that he would put on his show, and the frog would harass him, and then he'd harass the frog back, and it was this funny back and forth. The first video I did on YouTube that got any traction and is still one of the most popular videos I've ever put up, and it's like 10 years old now, was when I did that thing where I interviewed, in quotes, Genpo Roshi, the originator of the horrible Big Mind nonsense. That was based on the Ghoul and Froggy when I did my interaction with the sock monkey. So maybe I should bring the sock monkey back. I know where he is. He lives at the Angel City Zen Center nowadays. I could bring him back over here and have him come on again to reprise his star performance. Anyway, this guy would just tell things like it was. He was kind of he was the continuation of a character that had been done in the early 60s by another guy named Ernie Anderson, called Ghoulardi. And Ghoulardi had done this thing for about 3 years, and then he was off. He moved to California and became a big celebrity announcer, and he was doing The Love Boat and Dodge Trucks Are Ram Tough and stuff like that. So Ron Swede, who'd been his assistant and gopher and was a teenager at the time he worked for Ghoulardi, he was 20 or 21 years old or something. I think he was 21. And he found a station, a low-budget UHF station, Channel 61, convinced them that he could do the Ghoulardi show, like revive the Ghoulardi show. But he couldn't use the name Ghoulardi, so he had to call it the Ghoul. And he became even bigger than Ghoulardi had been. Big in Detroit, not so big in other markets that they put him in, but my friend Bob had seen him in San Francisco, so he had some stuff, and he went on in San Francisco, went in Chicago. I guess he was briefly on in Boston, some other places. I don't think he made it to Los Angeles, but the way he would just kind of be honest and say what he thought and didn't care whether you liked it or not, or whether it offended you or made you feel good. And he wasn't out there to make you feel good. He was out there to tell you the truth and kind of make you laugh. And that's kind of what I do when I do these videos. I'm out to try to tell you the truth and make you laugh. And when I go to, give a talk or lead a retreat or whatever, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm trying to tell you the truth and give you some laughs. And I am not trying to turn into the Dalai Lama or any of that kind of nonsense. That's the thing, and it just made me so sad to hear that he had passed away. He was 70 years old. Apparently he had heart trouble, and he had a heart attack 5 months ago, and he'd been recovering, and I guess the recovery didn't go that well, obviously, because he died. And now he's passed away, and I am mucho sad about the Ghoul passing away. And I just wanted to tell you about that. There's no great Zen message for you. It's just my eulogy for the Ghoul. if you like what you saw and you want more, I promise I'll do some Zen stuff next time. There's PayPal and Patreon links. The Ghoul was on Channel 61, who paid him. I'm not on Channel 61. Nobody pays me except you guys, and you do pretty well. So thank you very much. I'm able to afford to buy all this Ghoul junk that's behind me, and well, that's great. So really appreciate it. See you next time. More Zen, I promise. Goodbye.